Yeah, today we're going to learn the halacha if you're allowed to touch food on Yom Kippur or to smell it. So in Tov Reish Yud Beis, the Rama brings like this in Halacha Yud. Mutar liga b'Yom Kippurim b'oichlim u'mashkim. You're allowed to touch food and beverages. Litan lektanim, to give it to the children because they have to eat. So if you need to help them, you're allowed to handle food. V'lo chashinan sheyochal lo yishto yiga. Im yiga, I'm sorry. And we're not worried. Maybe since you're touching it, you might come to eat it. So we're not choishish for that. So the Ramo says you're allowed to do it. Now,
what's the havamina?
Very good, very good. What's the havamina? The havamina is on Pesach Lamashal. You're not allowed to touch chametz because you might come to eat it. If it's Easter to eat food today, you might come. So it says, so Taki, there are some big machmer on it that you're not allowed to touch food. But the ktanim, I mean, if they need your help, you don't want to endanger them, then you're allowed to handle it. So here's
Pesach is Bal Yirah.
A what?
Pesach is Bal Yirah.
No, meaning, let's say even a chometz which is not yours, you're not mechuyev, it's not your chometz, you're not allowed to touch it, shema yoichal. Anyway, here's what the Magen Avraham brings. He says, mutar liga, v'ladomi lechometz the Pesach. He brings, K'mashal said, Tov Mem Vov. The osam kevan she'oichel shar dvarim, since you're eating other food, chashinan shema yoichal gamzeh. You're going to touch this food, you're eating anyway. So he says, Mashenken over here, you're not eating at all. You know, you constantly remember that you don't eat it. Yeah. He says like this. However, he says there is some Rishonim like the Ran and then the Magid Mishnah and the Rambam. They say also liga ba'oichlin. It says kim shalitol letinak, shenayach little me'atzmoy. Yeah, according to them, only if a child needs your help. Stamazoi, children even not mechuyav, you're not to handle the food. Even mamash, they need your help. Otherwise, according to them, the madam is to Pesach that you might come to eat it. So the Magen Avraham argues, he says, they go back and forth, why, from the origins of the Gemara, why yes, why not. Lamaitse concludes like this, the Magen Avraham, Maharil, also liga, v'chachu b'Yerushalmi perek dalet de psochim, the dover shroi l'achilo be'en, gazrin shema yoichel, and the Yerushalmi brings a very strong raya, and many poskim saying, unless it's a big need, like to feed a child, don't touch any food. What's the raya? V'lochen achalos mischalkes l'arvis, in time Beis Hamikdash, the lechem upon him, they used to give it out on Shabbos, and the Kehanim had to finish it this Shabbos. They received the lechem upon him and the night. Motzei Shabbos. They cannot leave it to stay over that. So if that Shabbos was Yom Kippur Shechal b'Shabbos, the lechem upon him, they did not give it to the Kehanim on Shabbos. The lechem, they gave only Motzei Shabbos, Motzei Yom Kippur. That means they had a shorter time to eat the lechem upon him, only Motzei Yom Kippur. And why they didn't give them on Shabbos? Because you're not allowed to touch food on Shabbos, you might come to eat it. That's a stronger ayah that from the Yerushalmi. So according to this, Lamaisa is not that something, according to those Rishonim and according to the Ma'aril and the Ran and the Magid Mishnah, according to those poskim, that something only b'di'eva, the Chafil should not handle food, especially if a child is not so small, he can handle it himself, tell him, take what you need to eat. So that's something b'di'eva, according to them, you should handle food, because otherwise there is a chashash, you might come to it. The Taz brings another svara, Lahokel. He says, "V'li nira." That's the lashon of the Taz. The Shana Yom Kippurim the emas Yom Adin olav kol hayom. Says by Shabbos, there's another raya that got by Shabbos also, or Pesach. I mean, like he said, you eat the whole day. You might get confused. Over here he says by Yom Kippur emas kol adin, the whole day we're davening. We in shul. He says the most of the day. Memela he says it's memela, and we're not worried. It says the chol hayom oisek b'tfilah. Yeah, you remember Kedusha Sayom the whole day, so there's no worry. Again, yeah, there are some materials to handle food on Yom Kippur, there are some machmirim not to, only b'shas ha-tzoyrech, for little children, they need your help. So the Gemara in Maseches Yuma Daf Ein Zayin, the Gemara says, if a woman has to give food to the child, she could wash her hands, give it to him, definitely that's no less man the palik, if it's b'shas ha-tzoyrech for the child, you could do that. If there's no tzoyrech, better not to handle any food or beverages. So that's the Gabe, the Inyan of touching food. What the Gabe is smelling food. So the Magen Avraham brings over here like this. Who Pashut says, that's the Lashon of the Magen the mutar lohriach, that you're allowed to smell Besomin or any, yeah, but toivelasas can eat. Not only you're allowed to, because we're going to see the Shlach Kodesh Choylak, and the Shlach Kodesh says you're not allowed to smell on Yom Kippur. He says, but toivelasas can, the Magen Avraham recommends, the lamalas minyan mea brochas. Because in order to make mea brochas, but Yom Kippur is very difficult. Even on Shabbos it's easy. You have birkas hamazon, you have washing for alazam, amoitzi. We don't have this all Yom, so we're proud with the mea brochas that smelling it, that would help. By the way, if you're ready, people do that for that reason. either they hold there's no problem or to make extra bracha. So that's clearly you can take it every 5 minutes. Say Besomin. There was no hesach hadas yet. That's one bracha could cover many smelling the Besomin. If you had hesach hadas, you did something, and after an hour later you already forgot about the first time, then you say another bracha, but not to do often brachas within a few minutes after one another, because that's bracha shana tzrika, bracha lavatola. Okay, so again, so according to this, like I said, according to the shlo is also a strong raya why not to smell on Yom Kippur, because it says the halacha is by Motzei Motzei Shabbos it goes to Tisha B'Av, or Motzei Shabbos it goes to the Yom Kippur, we don't say bracha on the Besomin. It says mashma. Why don't you say bracha on the Besomin? Because you're not allowed to smell on a fast day. It's part of the, besides the inner of the achila, there is also, you should not have a hanoah. The Magen Avram, he refutes this proof of the shlo. He says it's the whole idea that the Neshama Yisrael goes away. We want to compensate that, since it's not Yom Tanug today, Tisha B'Av or Yom Kippur, it's not Yom Tanug. It's not that it's osur. We're not trying to give you a time to compensate that the Neshama Yisrael went away. It's Yom that we have anyway. Well, it's different. Tisha B'Av, it's Yom of Avelis. Yom Kippur, it's not Yom Avelis, but it's not Yom Tainug. Maybe we don't do it. Lamai says like this: the recommendation, like I said, the Magen Avram, to say the brachas of that's what the Alter Rebbe also brings. Now, here is what the Kaf HaChaim brings from Knesset Gdoila. So that says, "Kosav the lariach reach tov, b'yom shetzivsa ater la'anos odom nafshoy ena min adin. Shanashom enes min hareach." The whole idea of Yom Kippur, we have 5 inuyim, so you're trying to compensate your inuyim now with the pleasure of a smell. He says it's not appropriate, according to Knesset Gdoila, to smell on Yom Kippur. Again, everybody going to go according to his own minhag. Like I said, people that follow the Magen Avram, the Alter Rebbe, they recommend, and some want to follow the Knesset Gdoila or the Shlo, they're not going to. However, here's what I want to bring this in, that's a lot of time popular in some shuls, like about the tabak, people that smell the tabak. We had a shiur about this already, like about the tabak, the brocha. So he says something like this: the tabak le'ariach b'choitem, people that smell in the nose. Yesh loymar the shore de la'osar kim chamisha inuyim v'tuloi. That's Eshel Avram says. He says there's no the 5 inuyim. There's no inu for the nose. The nose, if you want to smell, he says according to him, how much more you can smell Besomin. There's no problem. Yeah, according to Eshel Avram. Chen kada b'sidur Rav Yavetz. The lish of avak tabak b'choitem en chashash. Oh, that's what the punchline I want to add over here. Ra'ak lobe v'sakneses. Needless to say, according to the Knesset Gdoila, according to the Shlo, you should not smell any, even Besomin, how much more tabak you're putting in, stuffing inside your nose. But even according to the material, like the Yavetz, like the Eshel Avram, he says, if you do it publicly in the shul b'fnei rabbim, it's near like a kalus roish. And he says, how much more? So the according to Rav Yavetz, it's common in shuls many times. People offer each other a tabak, and it becomes like a common thing.
Social scene.
What?
Social scene.
Yeah, a social thing. He said that's according to Yavetz. Even his matter to smell the tabak. He said to do such a thing, it's mzalzel in Yom Kippur. So again, I'm telling you the different opinions. Take whichever opinion you want. So definitely to pass tabak to each other and start smelling and making like a social thing out of that's not appropriate for Yom Kippur. Okay.